season. Hot Take Season.
What up, what up? Thanks for tuning in to an episode of Hot Take Season, where these hot takes are rated E for everybody. I'm your host, Mia Me. And it's been a while since we've had a chance to record. So much has transpired in the sports world, and unfortunately, we can't get into it all. But we're here to talk about a lot of the most recent activity surrounding the NBA and the WNBA for sure. So co-hosting this segment, we got my girl Grace with me. And then our guest for this episode is none other than my SOS sister, Andrea. And then we've got Ryan. Now, if you're a day one Hot Take Season listener, you've probably heard Ryan in the early stages of Hot Take Season, Houston fan and MLS. You're with the Crew, correct? Ohio?
Yeah.
In Ohio?
Yes, ma'am. Columbus
There
Crew.
There we go, Columbus Crew. So, what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining me with this one.
Glad to be here.
Good to be back, even though I was banned for a little bit.
You were not banned, Ryan. I promise you were not banned.
Let me out.
Again, a lot has transpired in the sports world, a lot with the WNBA. Grace was hitting me up like, look, I got a lot to say. So, Grace, I'm going to open the floor up with you. WNBA, this whole Caitlin saga, if you will, how are you feeling? What do you think needs to be addressed most with the WNBA?
I personally am tired. I don't know if y'all are tired of it, but it's getting old. They're dragging it, and it's time to move on. I think it's time for the people who are trying to make her this victim to sit down and shut up, because like I told you when we were texting, when you go to somebody's house for the first time and you walk in, do you start talking about their belongings and trying to rearrange their furniture? So if you're new to the WNBA because you're proclaiming that you're following Caitlin Clark and supporting her, rightfully so, that's cool. New fans are always welcome, but this thing where they're trying to overrun and dismiss the history of the league leading up until now and the loyalty of the fans and the followers and supporters, it's getting old. It's tired. There's like, let's get back to basketball. Let's get back to the reason we're all here and love the league and love the game. It's exhausting at this point.
Ryan, you got anything to add to that? What you thinking with the WNBA this season?
Yeah, the golf what Greg said with the new fans, it's like they thought she was gonna come in averaging like 50. Her new fans, the one that's following, I'm watching only because of Caitlin, and because she's not doing that, because they realize, oh, these girls can play. They're looking for anything to. I mean, after the second game, they wanted to fire the coach. Now they're talking about her teammates don't like her. The WNBA should have made the schedule different for her. The refs should be calling it different. Teams shouldn't be double teaming. Like, these girls are getting paid to play and win a championship. Nobody's gonna make it easy for Caitlin because we have all these new fans, which is great. We need to get more eyes on the sport, but they need to come in and realize that these girls been doing it way before she got here.
Yeah. Andrea?
You know, it's disappointing because I've been banging the table for Kennedy Carter to like finally get her shine for like years. I remember her legendary 2018 run, which is crazy. And like Caitlin, I've been a big fan of her. I remember back when she was basically obscure by the media, right? And when like Paige was actually supposed to be anointed in this position, and because of injury, right? Like Caitlin ended up taking her place, right? So I've been fans of these players for a while, and it's disappointing that the discourse every time that Angel and Caitlin go against each other, it's basically like the race war. Like, it's just like we're gonna find somehow some petty play that turns it into like Caitlin being a victim. And it's a shame too, because we've seen that earlier. Victoria Vivian's like had a little incident with Caitlin, and there was nothing that happened. They were yapping at each other. There was a technical, and people were talking about Victoria Vivian's threw an elbow. No, that didn't happen at all, right? They were just yapping at each other, right? Kennedy Carter, right? she had a skirmish with Caitlin Clark a little bit. They're going back and forth. Again, it's a physical game, right? Caitlin was trying to box out, ended up hitting her on the elbow. And Kenny Carter, if you've been following Kenny Carter for longer than a day, you know that Kenny Carter is not something you want to mess with or try on a basketball court. So
She
Kennedy
went to
Carter
smoke wherever.
all the time. She didn't. One thing, her nor Angel, no Marina Mayberry, no a lot of people on that Chicago Sky team, they don't want smoke. They gonna take on the smoke regardless. And guess what? You're not gonna want their smoke that they're gonna give back. And so, like, Caitlin realized that she can't mess with Kennedy because Kennedy checked her. And one thing I will say, like, was it fair? No. Was it flagrant? Absolutely. Was it World War II 5-day race discourse? No, it wasn't. Angel Reese got pulled down by her neck by Alyssa Thompson. And honestly, that was a retaliation that was not congruent because AT literally did that just because Angel got a couple hard rebounds on her, was able to like position herself well. AT got frustrated and then pulled her down. There was no discourse about that. We didn't talk about that longer than like half a second if you were in the WNBA world. And that was egregious. She also got bumped, hit checked by JJ. Silence, right? So the game is physical. Candace Parker, her first year, she got pulled down. I still remember when Kelsey Mitchell and Jewel Lloyd looked like pinballs trying to go through the teeth of defenses constantly, right? It's a physical game. You're not going to be able to just score 50 down the lane like you used to in college. And I think that a lot of people, they thought that the WNBA was sweet, and they thought that Caitlin being as good as this anointed person that they anointed, obviously they're the only W player that they've looked at before and taken seriously. So they think obviously she's going to be better than everyone else. And it's like, no, you're a small guard coming into a league with grown women. It's going to take an adjustment. And that's what DT said herself. But again, they don't take the rest of these women seriously and are being shell shocked right now because they're realizing, although Caitlin is good, these women are that much better. And they don't know how to really make sense of that in that mind. So one thing that they know what to do, they know how to throw around misogyny. They know how to throw around sexism. They know how to throw all those classics, misogynoir. That's all they know. So they're making up all these excuses for Caitlin. And although it's not Caitlin's fault necessarily, at this point, she has to say something because it's one thing for, like, I was of the opinion, like, I understand why you don't speak because, hey, like, sometimes people speak more and end up digging a hole further, right? They end up causing more controversy, right? But at this point, the silence is allowing groups of people to fester and lurk in the shadows. And if you're Caitlin and you've built this clean image that you're all for team blah blah and growth of women's game, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing your teammates a disservice because they have to go through death threats. You're doing whatever team you go against a disservice. You're going to top players disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice because people are going to have animosity towards you, letting that build up and fester. So just nip it in the bud and say something. I was of the belief, I understand why she didn't say anything, but at this point, girl, like it's World War III over here. You can't let people keep on like throwing elbows at each other. You have to, hey man, like ceasefire, calm it down, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, I think all of y'all are making valid points. What I don't like is the people who try to frame it as, oh, y'all are just hating on her and she's the reason for viewership. And no, the W has been increasing in viewership the past few years. You know, marketing has been better. Me and Grace have done plenty of episodes on what the W needs to do to be better. You know, marketing, viewership, all of these type of things. And it's like, let's talk about what's actually happening on the court. And instead of a lot of people being able to sit down and watch a game and say what's going on team to team, player to player, they're riding the back of Caitlin and everything is aimed at her when there's so much other talent in the league. And that's not to say that Caitlin is not talented, because she is, you know, but we can sit back and analyze her game just like everyone else's game can get analyzed, you know? So yeah, I think like Grace said, you know, come in, watch some games before you start with all these crazy hot takes of who's the best to ever do what. You haven't seen 5 years of league play to even make such an assumption. You know what I mean? Go ahead,
And-
Andrea.
yeah, and can I say, like, I find it hilarious, right? Like, oh my God, the reason why we're watching is Caitlyn, and like again, they have this mythical ethos that like Caitlyn is like, I don't know, like the Jesus of basketball, right? Like she died for our sins, and like she's gonna come and just one fell swoop, just 50 and 100 rebounds and assists and everything, right? I am so glad that there is a lot of viewership that's going towards her way. And let's not talk like all these rookies are amazing pull. Like I looked up Sky tickets. Sky tickets were actually more expensive than Aints' tickets, right? In Atlanta, right? So Angel had some pull, like Nika Mule, people staying behind the game. She don't even play a minute. People are like, these rookies have juice, right? So all these rookies are growing the game. The women in general have been growing the game. The next set of people who are coming up, Hannah Hidalgo, Kiki Rice, Lauren Betts, like all these other people, right? Juju, right? Coming up, making these notes and everything like that too, right? There are players who are already good that you could be watching right now. Instead of making yourself go through every single Fever game, I have literally went through it just to watch. I was like, for the love of the game, I'm gonna keep on watching. This is the worst basketball I've ever seen. Watch the Aces. Archer Wilson is great. Watch the Sun. There ain't no. There's so many other like good basketball to watch. So like I know your Lord and Savior ain't cooking, and I love her too. But like y'all be acting like she Jesus, calm down, calm down. There's plenty of good basketball out there, and if you take a step to look outside of your bubble, you would see that there's all this great basketball, women's basketball around. So talk about the basketball instead of just talking about checks and somebody hit something, somebody said
somebody
something.
hit her. I mean, you have to. Any real basketball fan will tell you, each level of basketball it gets tougher for you as a player. This is not college, like Andrea said. She's playing with grown women who are bigger than her. And so the fouls are going to get harder. You know what I mean? The style of play is just different at that level. And so it's not fair to assume that she's not going to go through what everybody else has gone through at that stage. When she was in college, you could argue the fact that she didn't play too many tough teams to really challenge her. And so for me to sit back and say, well, you know what, when somebody really guards her, she kind of turns the ball over a lot. Or she doesn't play defense. She could probably work on that. I'm presuming to be a hater. And it's like, no, I'm analyzing basketball the same way I do with anybody else. She's not exempt from that. And so, again, if you're a new viewer watching, please watch some before you run with these crazy narratives because y'all are sounding real crazy out here.
Can
Like,
I make
crazy.
potentially the first hot take of the episode?
Sure, go ahead.
And Lord help me if the stands come after me online. Come on.
Go for it.
At I am Grace Mercer. But I personally think that Caitlin Clark's talent is undeniable. She's an incredible athlete, incredible shooter, probably going to go down as one of the, if not the greatest shooter of the women's basketball game. But can we be real and acknowledge the fact that she entered the league unprepared for the league? That transition was not enough time to transition physically, mentally. She folds like a cheap chair. And I'm gonna make the argument that I've proclaimed for pretty much everything that we talk about. I circle back to this. She needs a sports psychologist or she's not gonna make it. Like she is mentally weak and it's visible and it's concerning because she's such an incredible athlete. It's like you shouldn't be having these breakdowns on the court at this level of this and this regard that people are holding you up to. You should be able to handle this.
It's only going to get tougher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my argument is that she walked in unprepared, and that's not necessarily her fault. It's partially on the people around her, but like Andrea said, she needs to speak up and she needs to start owning her story. Otherwise, people are going to keep writing the narrative for her, and it's unfortunate that it's going this way.
Dude, and I like. Oh yeah, go Ryan. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, based on like people write her narrative, I think, and it's not me, but I think a lot of people I went hard on her the other game because she had 3 points. I wouldn't have did that to nobody else, but the reason why I did that is because her fans make it so much that she should be scoring 40. I'm like, how's y'all Savior only scoring 3 points? She's 1 for 10 from 3-point line. So I personally, I'm gonna put it out there, giving her a hard time because of her fans. So she does need to come out and say something like, hey, I know it's gonna be a learning curve, something because her friends really thought she was coming up in this league and was gonna go off, and that rarely happens in
Yeah,
any
I had
league. In any league, like
yeah,
so.
So was the
I
rookie of
had
the month a giveaway? Can we talk about
mm,
that?
mm.
The only reason I say not just because like every time like Hammer or Kia, I feel like the rookie of the month might honestly be hers by default just because a lot of the best rookies on a lot of the other squads like they'll end up cannibalizing each other when it comes to stats, right? Like
Mhm.
Angel is going to cut into Camilla's rebound and vice
Mhm.
versa, and also scoring ability too, since they're both like at their current level, they're both like close to the basket players, right? Rakia and Cam seem to trade off performances where like Cam will have like a great, super efficient night, and then like the next game, all she does is foul. That's a problem she had coming into the league. Hot chip and foul. That girl just giving looks and fouling. I love her, but that happens, right? Like so she will have like a foul moment, and then Rakia will get a lot of moments and then start cooking the second unit and then start cooking. But like again, she either doesn't have a lot of minutes or she's on with the other set of players, the starters, and they just take her usage away, basically, right? So she just has to find smaller pockets. Caitlin is out there for damn near the whole game, 40 minutes a game, right?
Mhm.
So she is their most important, like because of the system that they built, she's their most important player, right? The way that they run everything. She's gonna end up getting it by default just because like it doesn't matter her efficiency is real bad for herself right now.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't matter, her sister always going to be good. It doesn't matter really what she does because she's going to be playing for so much longer, and Alyssa Peely isn't playing and everything like that. But as you talked about, like she seems exhausted, dude. Like I look at the press conferences because I'm a nerd, and like she be, oh man, like it's a whole game and I don't know what to deal with it. And like I know for a lot of players, especially players who like are great players, right, have won a lot, losing is a huge transition, so that's something she's gonna have to deal with. But also the physicality is getting into her head. You talked about it, like Mia, like what West Bell gave her some hell, Nika Mule gave her some hell, Raven Johnson gave her some hell, and like
Dejanay.
and that was in the college, right? So now Dejanay is like
Mhm.
getting all in her face, right? Kennedy was like not like necessarily like stopping her, but was like getting in there, right? And
Mhm.
so like there are all these players. Jewel was playing some great defense on her. Like
Yeah.
she's going to have to figure out how to not get down because they're not winning, because the team work isn't happening, and she needs to defend her teammates too. Even in press
Yeah.
conferences, she'd be like, hey, this is all the things that the coach be messing up, and like, girl, I appreciate you being candid, but don't like you have to save face for your people. And honestly, people talk about like how media trained she is. I honestly think Angel is the best media trained of the class because she has been given hell, and all she does is support her teammates. She thanked AT for pulling her out of the air, and I would have been throwing bows. Like, so she's well, like, and
Yeah.
anything that comes through with her, like she's able to adjust. I think Caitlin, as you talked about, really needs to like not get down on herself, not get down on her team, and realize that being a good teammate in leadership isn't just playing well. She has a little bit of Kobe in her where she's like, if I play well, that's enough. No, girl, you need to be like a good teammate as well.
Mhm. For sure. For sure. All that to say, she is a great athlete, or she's a great player. I think she has room to grow. Just like anybody. I mean, she's a rookie, you know, like give it time. We were talking earlier about Sabrina Ionescu, and to me, Sabrina right now is on the trajectory of having the best season of her past 4 seasons in the
She needed
WNBA.
it.
Yeah, she definitely did need it. And so again, a lot of people had a bunch of hype on her coming into her rookie year. And to me, it just was, she wasn't necessarily living up to that hype. But I think now she's kind of got a feel for it. She's getting in her groove and she's flourishing. And so again, for Caitlin, give her time, give her grace to grow, but let's stop crowning her the queen of the WNBA right now, you know?
And I think it bears noting that the reason that a lot of us loyals and those that have been following the league since, I mean, they started when I was 6 years old. I've been watching literally my whole life. One thing that we understand is that any night could be anybody's night, but
Yeah.
also the next day, anybody can be in that GM's office and get waived. Like this
Mhm.
is a league where nobody is safe. Literally nobody is safe. And I don't think they understand the dynamic of that and that these women are playing for their livelihoods every single time they step on the court. This is not,
The
they
age
don't
of
have
fair.
guaranteed contracts or anything like that. And so that adds a different level of tenacity and hunger and going after it every single night. So if I'm gonna step up and be facing Caitlin Clark, I'm going after it too. I'm gonna have the best game of my career because there's more eyes on me than ever before. So I'm gonna try to give her whatever I can too. It's
Yeah.
just it's something they don't understand yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
you
The age
brought
of fair
up.
got cut too.
I
Like,
know, and I'm still sad about it.
mhm. Like I'm a Caitlyn, like I feel like because I've looked at her for so long, like again, I remember when she wasn't the it girl. So like I knew her before the drama. Somebody came up with her after the drama. I can understand why you hate her. Really, I like I appreciate her game, right? Although like I feel like she does need to say something, right? But I wouldn't be surprised. I said before she's gonna struggle. She's a thin guard. She doesn't have a great handle yet. She doesn't have a good dribble speed. She doesn't have good speed yet, right?
Mhm.
So she's gonna struggle, especially the first half of the year. The last half of the year, I think she gets some more legs under her. She gets a little bit healthier. She's gonna be good, man. Like I can very clearly see a path where she scores at least 140-point game this season. Like I
Mhm.
can see that. I can see that. And I can also see her having a couple more 3-point games because that's the league. Like, so like patience. It's okay. I'm not a Sabrina Ionescu believer, but she turned it around. So like there's hope for anybody.
um, so talking about getting off to a good start in the season, the Sun, Connecticut Sun are off to a hot 8-0 start. Any takes about that? Can they continue that? And for how long?
I mean, they got people who stepped up from last year, like we talked about Carrington. My girl Ty Harris. I remember that first game, she bust like maybe 5 threes on
Mm-hmm.
Indiana.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She was giving me old South Carolina Don Staley, Ty
Yeah.
Harris. So I think if they continue to grow and be good, I wouldn't say they're gonna go undefeated, but I can see them being one of the last two teams at the end for sure.
Yeah. I can see them being that too. I think them having Brianna Jones back obviously is somewhat of a good effect for them. And the longer she's going and able to get back into her groove as she gets healthier, I think that's a really big plus for Connecticut. But other teams have got to get healthy, and somebody's eventually going to challenge that. But I do agree with you, Ryan. They do have the potential to be one of the last two teams left in it.
So I looked up like the longest win streak in WNBA history is 18 wins, right?
Mm.
I can see a world where that happens to the Sun. They're just playing that locked in. I have to shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie is playing like she's coaching. She won Coach of the Month this year. Everybody knows their role
Mhm.
so well. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Tiffany Mitchell used to be like a premier player in Indiana. Right now, she's on the best bench playing defense, and she's playing the heck out of defense right now, right? I think she's like a 6 or 7 woman from her play grade. Rachel Bannon was like a number 3 pick. She just scores, and she's doing great at it, right? Shooting lights out, right? Ty Harris, as you said, Dejanay Carrington coming out, not playing like they've grown so much as players, right? To be able to the point to where they are, especially Dejanay might be most improved player. I put her
Yeah.
as most
Oh yeah.
improved player. And then Jones been injured like almost all her career, and like Achilles is one of those things like, oh my gosh, like you get an Achilles, you assume it's over. She's turning around after Achilles and being that true third spot. DB is
Yeah.
always going to give you points. AT is always going to do everything. So all the roles, they know it down to a science. Stephanie White has done a great job with them. I can see them, I don't know about being 18 wins, but I can see them going to push it to 12. Let's see how they do against, going to the Storm a lot more, going against Minnesota a lot
Mhm.
more, because Minnesota didn't have their pieces together like they do now when they play them. But or a consistent Liberty team, because they need to be more consistent.
Yeah.
But they're in a good spot right now. They know their roles, and I can see this definitely lasting for a while for them.
Grace, you had anything?
I think we're seeing a trend of the teams that hold their course throughout off seasons. We see a lot of turnaround oftentimes with rosters. That's when they start to build those foundational blocks to be successful. That's how Vegas got where they were at, and we're starting to see that fall in place for Connecticut. So I think it's a very strong possibility that they end up as a top contender at the end of the season too.
Who would y'all say is maybe your most impressive player this part of the season? Because we still got a long way to go, believe it or not.
Oh, we have so long. Impressive means a lot of different things, right? For me, like movement, right? Like, okay, so like most improved player, like DJ Carrington, going from like, hey yo, I'm like defense, I'm cool, to like, nah, I'm defensively hounding everybody, right? I'm giving good shots, right? Like I'm energy all day. Like that's really impressive for me, right? Like Kennedy Carter is right now is probably my 6th woman of the year, like providing consistent buckets. If Dana or if Marina aren't hitting shots, like she's super good, right? Kate Martin, I thought she was good. Like for the longest time, bro. Like shout out to Kate Martin, dude. I don't know a single person. Like for all, you can be the biggest Caitlin Clark hater in the world. You gonna love yourself some Kate Martin, okay? Because I remember thinking last year, like, oh man, like there's a chance she could be in the W, but I don't know if she's good at necessarily anything enough to be in the league. And I was thinking if this were a league a couple years ago, she'd like get in like pretty like no problem for me. But like now, like we have like fourth picks, third picks, like getting cut constantly, right? Or being handled. But and I thought too, man, she could play like Alicia Clark, but her being on the team with Alicia Clark and the Aces, I was like, oh man, I don't know if she's gonna be able to do it. And she's just been so smart and so effective. She's won over those vets so well. She's won over Becky Hammond so well, just playing smart and playing the game the right way. And that's what she's done since Iowa. I'm so glad that she's doing it because, again, if you would have told me, again, I love AC. AC's probably one of my favorite players, but like she had to remodel her whole game in order to stay in the league. 2 years she was out the league and then she was able to do it. So like for Kate to do it in a league where you have the number 3 scorer all time in NCAA getting cut and they choose you, man, Kate Money Martin is doing her thing. So those are all 3 of my like most impressive, because if you would have told me Kate would not only be like playing on the Aces, but
I didn't have her going
minutes
over Daisha Fair.
no one would, because she's crazy, but she's crazy. So like, she did it, dude.
Yeah. I think part of why, in my opinion, is really special to see. I was telling me about this is that it's almost like, because she wasn't gonna play after college initially, and then she, like that wasn't part of the plan. She was just gonna go coach or do something else. But it's like we're seeing her blossom all over again and remember her worth and remember who she is. And so that's really cool to see. And I think she deserves some shine for that. And she deserves it. Like she's proven herself to be not only somebody who's going to show up on the court, but also somebody who's humble, respectful, and acknowledging and appreciating this rookie process. And I think that's really special to see.
And ain't nobody gonna try her because Asia's gonna elbow to the face. So.
They've embraced her, so she's well protected.
I think her going to the Aces really helped out though. The way they embraced her, the way they're allowing her to come into herself and not put like a lot of pressure on her. I like Carrington, like I said earlier, her defense stepped up. I don't remember all that at Baylor, but she's doing her thing. And I would say I didn't know how was Clear Copper. I didn't know how she was gonna do it. I didn't know how she was gonna the Mercury.
It still feels weird that she's over there. Yeah.
So I didn't know how she's gonna fit in. Oh yeah, like I forgot Cloud was over there too. Like but there seem to be like gelling a little bit. And BG, is she? I don't know if she's back yet.
No.
So just when she gets back, that's gonna be a team to watch.
Yeah, I think the Mercury really could be a sneaky team this year. I know me and Grace were kind of critical of the coaching change early on, but they do got a kind of a scrappy situation going over there when they get healthy for sure.
Okay, was it y'all didn't know who he was, or was it he wasn't already in the W? What was your?
He's never coached a women's basketball game before that.
Yeah, he's never
It was that, and it was a situation of like there's a few women you could have called up, and gave that shot to, but it is what it is. I think most impressive for me, y'all. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Y'all went the young route. I'm sticking with the old route. I think DT being 42 and
Man.
and still hooping lights
Whew.
out is something to really be impressed with. I think Skylar Diggins, her comeback also is something to not be overlooked. So that's where I'm going at with that. I think she's fitting with the Storm pretty well right now. I think once they get NECA rolling with Ezzy McBeggar and all of that, I think the Storm could be pretty good too. You ain't believing it, Andrew?
Oh man, I'm a Storm fan. What you mean? I'm over here. I'm hyped, dude. Like Sky Diggs for sure. Like she started off real slow, and honestly, she's come off a baby. Like De'Erica Hamby, like she had 2 years off a baby, and now she's like,
Mhm.
first of all, De'Erica Hamby, like she ain't been this version of her ever in the life. She brand new who this, and she's great. But like it took 2 years for her to like get back. Like so for Sky Diggs, it only took her what like 5 games. That's
Mhm.
crazy, and like the defense is not to be remiss for Seattle either,
Yeah.
too, because man, so Sky Diggs is something. Of course, I'm so excited. Like the Notre Dame connection back again. Guard you, guarding us. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah. So,
Can I slide in a honorable
yeah,
mention?
go ahead.
Just because it's close to home, Maddie Seegers showing the way
For
Yes,
she's showing up for
sure.
Dallas is really cool to see.
Yes.
she's
'Cause
my
she's
Yeah.
second MIP.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's really coming up. It's cool to
I
see.
know last year me and Grace were talking at the playoff game and we're like, Maddie needs more minutes, man. Maddie needs
Mhm.
more minutes. And she's getting those minutes now. Unfortunately, it seems like it's due to health reasons with the team, but Maddie is really showing up when her number is called.
Mhm.
Anything to get the ball out of Enrique's hands. Like, oh my god. Like I like Enrique. Like she's one of those, like she's a Kobe disciple, right? So it can be
Mhm.
like she's playing like Kobe, complimentary, or it could be like she's playing like Kobe, derogatory. And like
Mhm.
unfortunately, like because they don't have nobody, like who else do they have besides her and Maddie? But like I can't wait to see what it's like when Natasha Howard and like Sabu comes back. I think people are sleeping on Jaylen Brown too. Like
Yeah, for
her,
sure.
Yes.
oh my god, like her in the preseason, I was like, your bag is ridiculous. I can't wait till you get some minutes on you, girl, because like she
Yeah.
came back from overseas and is feeling herself. So like I do worry if we're enabling Enrique to like be a this is my team chucker, and like instead of reeling in, like the Storm won a whole bunch like with Jewel, but like they were like, hey Jewel, you get 18 shots and that's about it, bro. Like 18 to 16, figure it out, right? If not, pass it. We need that with Enrique because her passing's got better, her defense has got better, but like she is just a chucker, and I'm worried that she still has that mentality even if she has people around her like Maddie and Jaylen and Natasha and Sabu. They have a team, but
I
patience.
think it's a thing of health, and maybe she could possibly trust her teammates a little more. But
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
saying that, if she's going to trust you, you got to knock down the shot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it seems as though they have a better cohesion when Satu is in the mix, when Natasha Howard is in the mix. So it seems like the injuries are really the biggest stronghold for the Wings right now. And I think once everybody is back on one accord, it'll look better. The only downside is you're probably going to lose Monique Billings, who's been playing great. Been giving them great minutes. So I don't know. We'll see what the Wings can do down the stretch of the season. It's kind of rough right now, but I think if they can weather the storm, they can still, end up with a really good playoff spot and maybe win another game or two in the playoffs.
Them and the Mercury are like kind of the same tier where I feel
Yeah.
like, like
Mhm.
I still need to see more, but you have good vibes. I just need to
Hmm.
see it like happen more.
Yeah. For sure. For
I'm seeing
sure.
more dog mentality.
More
I kept
dog
Love
telling
that.
I kept telling Mia last season, I was like, I love that the roster's full of lovable people that they can post on social media looking fun, having fun. Everybody's so nice, but we don't have any dogs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're starting to see that come out a little bit. So that's
Yeah.
why.
And they got JC, who like JC can be a dog defensively, but like JC also
Mhm.
seems like I'm a nice girl. So it's like
Right.
JC, you need to turn. This is the press all the time, girl. We're back in Ohio State, like please.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So the Liberty are sticking their necks out and they are starting a streaming service to see all of their games. I think that's a for sure step in the right direction. We saw the disaster that was the first game of the season. So shout out to the Liberty. Y'all can check that out. I think the service fee maybe like $5 a month right now, which to me isn't bad. If you're a Liberty fan, of course, or try League Pass. I have my issues with League Pass though.
Who doesn't, man? That app is like, and they've removed good features too. I remember back in the day, they used to have like highlights on the ticker, and then it's just like now we don't have anything. Like I
Yeah.
hate it.
Oh, so we're going to switch gears to the NBA. So we got the Mavericks, my Mavericks, and the Boston Celtics getting ready to tip off Thursday for the finals. What are y'all takeaways with that?
I'm ready to turn up with y'all at the parade. I don't know what else needs to be said, but
Did y'all
I'm
see
hopeful.
Dallas making it this far? Because I'll be honest, as a fan, I was like, it's looking better, but I don't know if it's finals better. And I even did a short clip after the trade deadline, and I was like, Dallas is, they're pushing towards getting to the finals with these trade pieces that they've just acquired. But I didn't see it going this far, and I'm glad it did. I'm glad to be wrong in this instance. Ryan, what you thinking?
For me,
Yeah, you.
um, I'm never gonna wish a Dallas team well. So let's just put this start with that. But also, I didn't see coming at the 5 seed all the way to the final. I thought y'all make a big run. I didn't see finals coming. Just because not only I don't think it's a team. I just think Jason Kidd is just his managing sometimes is questionable.
Yo.
Man, we were calling
So
for his head.
yeah, so it's like, is his questionable calling gonna be a hindrance to the team? Are they gonna have to overcome the other team, the refs, and their coach doing something crazy? So, but no, I mean, it seems like everything is working out right now. Like all the pieces, like you said earlier, for Connecticut, how like everybody knows their role. I feel like that's what Dallas is going on right now because I didn't give them a chance against they just played. Minnesota did not give them a chance at all. But you know what I'm
See,
saying?
I was really worried about OKC, honestly, I was like, they look like a taller matchup. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out, and they still put it out. So at this point, I don't know what to say.
I feel like if OKC wasn't young, they probably would have.
Yeah.
I think they would have for me. OKC was good, but I thought they were just too young. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I saw y'all getting past them, to be honest with you.
Who do y'all think's whose legacy possibly takes the biggest hit with a loss in this? Because you've got Luka, you've got Kyrie, you've got Jaylen Brown, you've got Tatum, you even got Porzingis. I don't know if y'all figured Porzingis needs a win, a finals win right now, or what.
It's all dependent on Pingus to win this championship. Man, honestly, this is I don't even know if this is a hot take or not. I don't think so because of how many years he's been at it. If Jason, I'm still 19 years old, Tatum doesn't win a championship after like hovering around the finals and being this next upcoming great player for years and years and years and gosh darn years, how many more years, right? Like they need to finally step up because like him and Jaylen Brown, I don't think they're a bad combination. I think they're a great combination. This team is actually a great team, like very good cohesiveness, like good passing. Like you have great defense, like you have people who can hit buckets at any single time, even without Tingus Fingers, right? But the problem is that I don't trust anyone except for like Derek White, just because like Jaylen will like he don't have no left hand and like dribbling or like they'll make stupid plays at the end of games. You brought in Drew Holiday, who is also from the Bucks team, who also made stupid plays in crunch time too. Like I don't I don't trust their ability to close out games like I do in having either Kyrie or Luka close out a game. They can go 0 for whatever and still at the end of a game hit the shot to close out a game. I'm afraid Jason Tatum is just going to pass it off Jaylen Brown's butt and we're going to have a new butt fumble, right? Like, they really need to step it up and honestly like show that they have cohesion in the final minutes, because I feel like that's the biggest monkey off either of their backs. Like, they're talented players, they can score at any time. You talked about having dog. Jason needs some dog in him, because if he can't find that closing ability, he'll always be a what if and always be 19 about to turn eventually.
I mean, they've been trying to compare this man to Kobe for the longest.
Oh
So
my God.
at some point, you gotta kick it in gear. You gotta kick it in gear.
Put up or shut up, you know?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. As far as who's left, I don't know, because it's so many ways to spin this. I mean, you got Kyrie with his first time back since Cleveland, and now it's without LeBron. So that's out the window. Porzingis was with the Mavericks. Now he's with Boston, and he's found his way in the finals. But then it's like, if it's not Boston, then do you split up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? What do you do at that point?
I mean, they've been trying at it so long. If they lose like three deep postseason runs in a row, 4, I think. I mean, I don't. Again, they're both good together, but maybe they do need maybe it's like a Kyle Lowry and like DeMar DeRozan, of course, like different in talent
KD
level,
and Westbrook.
KD and Westbrook. There you go. That's a much better talent level. Honestly, disparity there. But like, maybe they just need to do it apart in order to do it. But I don't think so. They just need to not be dumb. Like at the end. And I think having a point guard, honestly, I think if they got Chris Paul, like that would be a person to calm him down in clutch mode. I know he's also had his issues in the clutch, but I feel like part of it is just injuries for Chris versus like, I really feel like Drew Holiday sold a lot of games, and it's just because Giannis is that good that they were able to like pull it together, and because they went against the Suns and the Suns aren't serious. So like, I think they can work together, but if it's been 4 or 5 times that they've been close to the dance or at the dance and they couldn't actually get it together, like at a certain point, you gotta let go, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, y'all got any hot takes for this series before we go?
It doesn't matter what Kyrie does because they still gonna call Luka the white LeBron, so like it don't matter.
I'll say this is.
Did you feel Kyrie got snubbed of that Finals MVP that year? They gave it to LeBron, and if so, do you think that happens again this year?
No and yes.
No and yes.
Yeah.
He's not getting it this year.
He's not getting it.
Nah, man. Like Luka, again, Luka could like hit it off. Like Luka's just gonna end up like closing 1 or 2 games, and it's just gonna be like, oh my God, it's gonna be that same like left corner, like deep 3 he's gonna hit, and then people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, like Finals MVP, and like to be fair, Kyrie hit the shot and didn't get it, but I feel like Luka hits the shot just because of hype. Luka,
Ryan, you had something? Go ahead, Grace.
Go ahead, Grace.
I would just want to say, as someone who's been critical of Kyrie at several points throughout his career, especially as a Mavs fan, I'm happy to see him finally somewhere where he seems to be at peace, on the court and off the court. And I think that's why he's thriving right now, just because unlikely place that none of us suspected. He's happy here in Dallas, and it's finally working. His chakras are aligned. The vibes are good, so we're happy.
Yeah, I can see that. He does seem happier in Dallas than he was like in Cleveland or in Boston. I can see Mavs taking this. Mavs in 6.
Mavs in 6. I don't know if I like Ryan saying this or not.
That's I finally support your team, but you don't want it. Okay,
this is a trap.
But yeah, it's like too big of a stage to like roll with you on this. Grace, what you got?
I say we take it in 5.
In 5.
5.
Andrea?
I'm gonna say 6 because like Jason Tatum's gonna have 140-point game and everybody's gonna be, I believe, and then he's just gonna disappoint the rest.
Yep. That game 1, he'll come out, score 40, post some Kobe pictures of Kobe called me type stuff that he used to do.
I texted him today.
Yeah. He'll do all that. The next thing you know, he's gonna be ghost for the rest of the series.
Good man. Good man. All right. I'm going in 6 as well in favor of the hometown.
Ooh-wee.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Who would have thought it, huh? For all of y'all, like being, Texas, like, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have thought it either. Like, the fact that the Nuggets were not able to pull it together, it's kind of crazy. But like, even if you told me the Nuggets were off, like, I would be like, okay, well, almost everyone else, just because like defense and everything. Shout out to Gafford too. Gafford's been playing like he wants money. Playing great.
Yeah, I think you would at least expect the Nuggets to have made the conference championship, but yeah, I did not see that downfall coming that way. And I mean, it's hard getting back. We know that, but I just didn't see it falling that far apart.
Yeah, no, it teams. It's weird to see like no Steph, no LeBron, but Kyrie's back. Like what a weird world, huh?
Yeah, gotta enjoy it. Gotta enjoy it. The playoffs have been fun though. I will say that. Because throughout the season, I'm the type that's like, if it's not competitive, I'm starting to get like my attention is starting to drift somewhere else, And I felt like the in-season tournament brought some competitiveness back to it. But I will say these playoffs have really been something to tune into and watch. So
I think they needed the playoffs because the way that, at least in my sphere, like the women's tournament and the WNBA, like they are on a stride right now. So like I've seen, which I would never think to see either. I've even seen like people on Reddit like, why would you schedule the WNBA the same time as the NBA playoff? We made it this far, guys. Like, oh my god, like yes, like we're actually like siphoning players, and so like this last like both of these, like the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, like aside, like it's been really like good games. So they needed that. No Steph, no LeBron, and having like superstar talent in the women's game, like like show and demand itself too. So you needed this just to keep the eyes on. And so like you got certified buckets going against
keep their viewership
up.
While we talking about viewership. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining me for this episode. Let everybody know where they can find y'all.
Oh, all my socials is r.gordon, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, that's all I have. Oh yeah, and TikTok.
All right, Andrew.
I am Grace. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Grace.
I am Grace Mercer on everything. Can I throw in one more hot take?
Yep.
Ooh.
Just circling back to Caitlin, because there's one person I haven't brought up this episode, and I think you know who I'm about to bring up.
I know.
Circling back to Caitlin, she needs to take ownership of her story because there once was a player that they tried to make the face of the NBA, and now he's my favorite bum that I like to refer to, and drag every chance that I get. Don't turn into James Harden. Please don't turn into James Harden, Caitlin. I beg you. I don't want you to turn into James Harden. So, like, gather it up so it doesn't happen because nobody wants to see that.
Not too much on James, though. Okay? we were a hamstring away from winning in the 18.
Oh Lord,
a hamstring and a lap dance.
Oh man.
We need the ethical buckets Harden, if anything.
Sure.
My name is Bordy McBoard, BORDY MCBORD. It's one word on like places like Twitch and Instagram and other places, I guess. But on Twitter, it's Bordy _McBoard. So yeah.
All right, all right. Again, y'all know where to find us at Hot Take Season on Twitter. It's _ Hot Take Season on Instagram. Thank you all so much for joining me. Ryan, I promise you, you're not banned. I will have y'all back. Y'all stay tuned here for another episode of Hot Take Season coming up soon. Y'all be blessed.